Hello. Well, Beans didn't waste any time. She decided to come in right when I hit the live button. So you want to go say hello? Let's go ahead and say hello. Come on. Hello. Yeah. Did you just drink water? Hey, what are you doing? Yeah. You come to see the people? Say hello.
Feel like a busy mom with a toddler running around.
Yes. Dallas, come get your child.
Hi guys. I
All right.
promise I don't usually look like this.
The mom is not watching her child properly.
Doing schoolwork, Mama.
Okay.
Come on, let's go.
All right, go, 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 go. Okay. Well, we are here. Thank you. If you were not in here and you're catching the replay, you get to see Beans. If you're just now coming in, you missed her. She made her cameo like right at the beginning of the video. Today we have Linda. Hello, Linda. Thank you for joining us. Today I want to talk about widow's fog, aka widow's brain, aka brain. I can't even say it. Brain fog. So I have made a video about this, but it's been quite a while. And so I wanted to talk about it again today because let me tell you, it has affected me in a big way over the last couple of months. I think it has come along with me retiring from my regular job and then starting to work from home. And so that transition has disrupted my previous routines. And so I'm trying to find ways of putting new routines into my daily habits and routines. But apparently, what I have in place right now that was working when I was working before outside of the home, it's not working now. So, first, I want to talk about widow's fog, what it is. Is it even a thing? Is it a real thing? And describe how it has affected me so you can sort of get an idea of how it works like in an everyday person's life, and then talk about some ways that you can combat it or diffuse it or help yourself through it. So Sharon's here. Good afternoon from Michigan, and LaDonna is here from Oklahoma. Thank you so much for joining. And Barbara is also here. So I see a lot of returning visitors today. So thank you for coming in. So as I was talking about before, Sharon says widow's fog is a thing, I believe, because I can't remember or concentrate on anything. So let me go ahead and spoiler alert right now. Yes, widow's fog is a thing. It is a real thing. It doesn't affect everybody, but it does seem to affect a lot of people after they've lost their spouse, especially in the first several months. But I have found that it just affects me in general, I think, at this point. Even though I'm 7 years out, I do think that widow's fog is still a thing and it is still affecting me in some way. And so I will tell you how it has really gotten kind of bad in the last few months. And then I'll just talk about some details. I'll talk about some, if you guys want to tell me some examples in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching the replay, post in the comments. Have you ever experienced widow's fog? And if so, how did it affect you? And what did you do to handle it or to combat it? Karen is here, says good morning. And Andy from UK says very recent funeral last week, bereavement of my wife, and finding your videos very helpful. Thank you. Andy, my heart goes out to you and we will put you on our prayer list. We do understand that you're in a very fresh grief on this journey, and I appreciate you coming in and joining us today. I have I don't know how many videos, probably 50 or more of the long videos, and I would just encourage you to scroll through the channel and see if any of the topics might be of interest to you, so that it'll just help you understand that you're not alone and that you're not on this journey alone, and that some of the things you might be thinking and feeling are not weird. They're totally normal and common, and it might even give you some ideas or some suggestions of ways that you can handle some things that are being thrown your way right now, because I know you're probably just in a whirlwind of emotions and a lot of things going on in life and just legal stuff. I mean, it's very chaotic in fresh grief, and most of us who are here who are widowed also understand that as well. And so Sharon says she's praying for you also, Andy. Um, so I will talk about, I talked about widow's grief in the past because it hit me kind of in the beginning before I knew that it existed or what it was. And so when I first started to experience it, I realized at the time I was like 43, 44, I can't remember. Um, but I was coming up on my mid 40s, and I noticed that I just couldn't remember anything. Like I couldn't remember words when I was speaking, not all words, but like I'd be trying to think of a word that I wanted to say and it was right on the tip of my tongue or right on the, the front of my brain. And I just couldn't think of the word I wanted to use. Uh, I would see actors on TV, and I'd be like, I know I've seen that person in some other movie before. Where is it? And this happens to us all the time, at times, but I noticed it was happening much more frequently. And I started to get kind of worried because I thought, gosh, am I getting like Alzheimer's? Am I getting dementia? I'm not even 45 and I can't seem to remember anything. Um, in the South and maybe in some other areas, we call it the CRS syndrome for old people. It's can't remember shit. So that's been a thing that my grandmother has told us since the beginning. It happens when you get old, right? Um, so but I found that over time, as I was better able to manage the grief and I started getting into a more of a routine, and I stayed, sorry, my nose is really itchy today. I stayed really busy. Um, I noticed that the symptoms of it lessened. And I also noticed that all my life I suspected that I'd had ADHD or ADD. And I joked about it and I thought, yeah, I probably got it. Ha ha ha. But I never got diagnosed. And I always thought, well, it doesn't matter whether I'm diagnosed or not, because even if I'm right, um, I mean, I've been pretty successful in my life. I have 3 college degrees and I have a degree, and I've had a marriage and I'm able to maintain my bills, and like I can function, right? And so I thought, even if I did get diagnosed, what difference does it make? Because I have developed life skills that enable me to handle the symptoms of this ADHD if I do have it. Well, I noticed that, I'm sorry, but this, I don't normally scratch my scratch my face, and I think I have something in my eye, and my nose is itching. What is going on today? Mm, like I think I have an eyelash in my eye, and of course I'm live, so I can't just turn the camera off and like um and pause. Hold on. Okay, I think okay, hopefully it will clear itself out. Anyway, sorry about that. Um I was talking about ADHD. Oh, I noticed that while I started to try to handle the grief of losing my husband, that I could no longer manage the symptoms of the ADHD. So my whole life I had managed it and dealt with it and handled it. And finally I thought, I can't handle this anymore. Like I can't remember anything. I can't keep up with my appointments. Missing deadlines at work. I couldn't seem to keep my chaotic schedule in check. I was missing, kids appointments, and I just couldn't keep everything straight all the time. And so it was at that point that I finally went to the doctor, and I actually got diagnosed at age 47 with ADHD and decided to try medication. And I will tell you that it was a life changer for me. And of course, it's not going to specifically help with your grief, but it did help my brain to focus better, because as a result of having ADHD, you cannot focus, your brain can't focus. So on top of the ADHD, I also had the grief. So the combination of those two, like just eating at my brain all the time, I could not properly function. I wasn't like going to lose my house or anything, but like it was causing so much anxiety for me, knowing that I was missing appointments and knowing that I was missing meetings and missing deadlines at work. And it just caused me so much anxiety and frustration, because I felt like, I'm a responsible person. I probably am an overly responsible person. Like I'm a type A, but I'm also very much rigid rule follower. And so it really bothers me. Like when I am not on time, it bothers me when I miss appointments. It really bothers me. It makes me feel um, like I get really down on myself. And I'm like, okay, I know that I'm more responsible than this. I don't want people to think that I'm not responsible or that I cannot manage my life or whatever. So the medicine helped me with the ADHD symptoms, which meant that I could focus on the grief symptoms, and then I could handle that a little better. And so for a while, it did help a lot. I still take the medication. It's probably not working as well as it used to because I've been taking the same dosage of medication for 4 years. And I've got two choices. Well, I got three choices at this point. I guess I got four. I can stop taking medicine altogether and just figure out life without it. That's not really an option for me. I'm not going to do that. Another option is for me to increase my dosage of medication. I don't want to do that. I'm not at the, I'm probably at like the middle dose, a mid dose. So there is room for me to increase, but I don't really want to because I don't want to get to the point where I'm at the max dose and it's still not working and I have more side effects from days that I don't take it and et cetera. Another choice is for me to just continue on the dose that I take and just figure out how to deal with it. And then my last option, which I am going to take, is I'm going to go on what's called a medication holiday. And in January, like after the hubbub of all the Christmas is over, because I can't go off medication during the holidays, I just can't. But in January, when the busyness of the season is over and everything's kind of fresh and new. And the business that I do on the side to try to make money is retail sales related. And so January and February is like the slowest 2 months of the year for retail sales. So I don't have to worry about it being as busy for me to sell things. So I'm going to come off of my medication, my ADHD medication in January, as long as possible through the month. I might only make it 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but I want to try to make it the full month, which means that my widow's fog and my ADHD are probably going to get really bad during that month because I'm going to be unmedicated. And this is something that is doctor overseen, and it is not something I'm just doing rogue. You know what I mean? It's an actual thing that people do. And I think it's going to be effective. The dog came back in. Beans, go out there, go. So, and the funny thing is my daughter brought it up. She takes medication as well. And she has started to find that her medication's not working as well either. And she mentioned it about the same time I was thinking it. So she and I are going to both be on a medication holiday in January. Pray for us. Thank you. I was going to say, let me close the door. And so what happens is, it's really bad because you're unmedicated, but it brings your tolerance level back down. It's basically, you're just getting it out of your system. You go through some withdrawals and you just get it out of your system, and it resets your tolerance level so that when you go back to taking your medication, the same dose that you took before that wasn't working as well, suddenly starts working better. And I've also noticed that on the days that I don't take it, like on Saturdays when I sleep in and it's a 12-hour medicine. So if I sleep past 9 o'clock or so, for me, it works longer than 12 hours. It works 14 or 16 hours. So if I take it too late, it keeps me up at night. So a lot of times on Saturdays, I don't take it. And I have found that the withdrawal symptoms of me not taking it on that day has gotten worse and worse. Like I can't do a whole lot. I'm really tired. I have a hard time waking up. I have no motivation to do anything. I'm lazy. I can't really, my brain doesn't really function all that well. It's just kind of in a fog. I just basically want to sit in bed and watch TV or doom scroll through my phone all day. And totally cool to do that. And then at the end of the day, I feel like, well, I wasted the whole day. And it makes it to where if I need to do something on a Saturday, I can't really do it. And I don't like that. So my daughter and I are both going to do what they call a medication holiday in January and try to reset. So hopefully that will help. That's not going to be for all of you who are dealing with widow's fog and maybe not also ADHD or medication, but I'm just saying, I'm giving you an example of how, comorbidity or multiple health issues have affected me together. And so when you are grieving, whatever other issues you might have, whether they be physical, whether they be mental, whether they be anxiety, whether they just be the busyness of life, anything that you have to deal with in life, when you're going through grief just turns up the volume on all of the other issues that you have to deal with in life. And so it just makes everything else harder to deal with because on top of that, you're dealing with the grief, you're dealing with sadness, you're dealing with loneliness, you're dealing with a lot of things that you probably didn't have to deal with before. uncharted territory, legal stuff, talking to people about stuff you don't even know how things work. And the person that normally would have helped you through that is your spouse, who is not there anymore. So it's a really tough time, physically and mentally, for you to try to handle life. I mean, life's tough enough as it is, right? But when you're grieving on top of that, it just puts an extra burden on your brain. And so that is a long explanation to the question of, is widow's brain or widow's fog a real thing? Is it a thing? Yes, it absolutely is. Um, and so I want to talk about how it has affected me recently. And then I want to talk about how you can do some things to help combat it. I think just knowing that it does exist is, when I found out that it was a real thing, it made me feel so much better, because I was like, okay, I'm not going crazy. I don't have uh, dementia or Alzheimer's. Like, I'm not losing my brains. Like, I'm not losing my mind. Right. So it just made me feel better to know that there was a label that I could put on it, and that it was a real thing. It was common in fresh widows, and that it was not something that lasts forever. So if that's enough to help you right now, just to know that, hey, it's not just you. Okay. It is a real thing. It affects a lot of widows and widowers, and it doesn't last forever. So hopefully that is enough to at least give you pause and be like, okay, whew, now tell me how I can deal with it, right? So I'll just give you a few examples just in the last 2 or 3 months that widow's fog has totally affected me. As I said before, I'm a totally anxiety person when it comes to missing appointments and like being late. I don't like being late. I don't even like being on time. I like being early. And so it just causes me a lot of anxiety, and missing meetings, especially when there's no excuse and I just forget. Oh my gosh, that caused me a lot of anxiety too. So back in November, I had bought these tickets for me and my daughter to go to a women's conference at the church across the street, the church where we attend. And it was like on a Saturday, and it was you're supposed to be able to go to shop these little booths and hear a lot of women speaking, and go to these different little break off sessions. And it was all for women, Christian women, and just different topics that affect us as women. So I got the tickets for me in Dallas. We got ready to go. We go across the street. It only takes 30 seconds to get there, and I pull in, and I'm like, I mean, we were on time a little bit early, but the parking lot was kind of empty. There's like 3 cars there. I was like, man, this thing is not going to be very good. There's only like 3 cars here. And then I pull up the little tickets, and I realized that, yeah, we were there on the wrong Saturday. It was the next Saturday, not that Saturday. So I'd totally gotten the date wrong. Luckily, we were still able to go the next Saturday, because I was there a week early, not a week late. So it, like, crisis was averted, but talk about feeling like an idiot the whole time, the whole week. I had just, I guess, looked at the date wrong, or entered it into my brain wrong, or something. And the whole week I was like, yep, Saturday we're going to this thing. We're going to this thing on Saturday. And then I just totally got the wrong date. So my daughter has missed a couple of online appointments in the last few months that I just totally forgot that she had. The last 2 therapy appointments that she has gone to, on one of them, I had the time wrong. And so she came 30 minutes late, and she missed it. So we had to reschedule. And on the second one, I had the day wrong. It was last Monday instead of 2 Mondays ago. Anyway, she was also a week early, and she was supposed to come the next week. So she goes all the way to therapy, and then they're like, yeah, it's not today, it's next week. She had an orthodontist appointment at the end of October that I just totally forgot about, and we missed it. And now the next time that they're able to see her is in January. And so now she has to wait with these. She had a bracket come loose. They had to come take it out, but they couldn't do all the other stuff. So now she has her braces that are doing nothing, because she's supposed to get them tightened and replace the brackets and all that. She's got them in there, but they're not doing anything for the next 3 months, because I forgot her appointment. And so she has her appointment in January. And these are all appointments that I have in my calendar, on my Google Calendar on my computer. So just like missing appointments. And then on this past Saturday, 2 days ago, I was doing one of those Saturday things. Like when I said, I didn't take my medicine. I didn't feel like doing anything. I just sat in bed and was lazy all day. Well, and I knew that we had tickets to a concert. If y'all know who CeCe Winans is, she's a very popular Christian singer. Jelly Bean. You cannot come in here all the time. You cannot come in here all the time. Say hello to the people. Come on, hurry up. Okay, look right here. Who is that? Who is that? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your visit. Now it's time to go. Go, 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 go. Go. You cannot come back in here. Oh, she knows how to jump up and press the little thing and make the door open. Anyway, so if y'all know who CeCe Winans is, she's a very popular Christian singer. Her songs come on the radio. I don't listen to a whole lot of her stuff. I don't listen to a whole lot of anything new, really. I just listen to like old stuff, right? But I do know who she is, and I know a couple of her real popular songs. And anyway, she offered to do a concert at our church, and tickets were only $40 a piece. But we purchased them like back in September, and they sold out within a day. So we had tickets, and I was like, well, I know that the concert starts tonight at 7:00, and they open the doors at 6. So if we get there like 5:45, we should be able to get in line. And then it was general seating, so it was like, they only sold a certain number of tickets, but there wasn't assigned seats. So the sooner you get there, the better seat you get. And we just live across the street from the church, right? And so I got up, I got in the shower. I was like, okay, let's get ready to go. My husband's like, once you get out of the shower, I'll get in the shower. We'll get ready, blah, blah, blah. I get in the shower, I get ready, I get dressed, fix my hair, and I was getting ready to pull the tickets up on the little QR code on my phone. And I looked at it, and it said, Friday, December 13th. Friday the 13th. Why didn't I remember it was Friday the 13th? I had lost track of the dates. It's not that I forgot about the concert, but I had lost track of the dates, and I thought that Saturday was the 13th, but Friday was the 13th. And so I told my husband, I said, well, don't get in the shower because the concert was yesterday. So the concert was on Friday, and we were getting ready to go show up to the concert on Saturday. Of course, we can't get our money back for our tickets. And I mean, normally a ticket to her concert would cost like $300 or $400. So luckily we were not out $300 or $400 a ticket, but it was totally my fault. Like I just dropped the ball, totally forgot. And I was like, I didn't forget about the concert. I just like totally lost track of what day it was or what the date on the calendar was. And so, and I'm trying to think, I feel like there was something else big that kind of happened recently, and I've been forgetting to take my medicine. The morning medicine I take, but I also take an injection once a week. And it's supposed to be like the same day every week. So it was like on Monday, and then I would forget, and then I'd take it the following Tuesday, and then I'd forget and take it the following Wednesday. So like instead of every 7 days, I'm taking it every 8 or 9 days, not on purpose. I just keep forgetting. And as a result, the effects are not as good as they are supposed to be. And so like I had to take it last night, and I was supposed to take it on Saturday. So, yeah. Oh, there was one other thing. And this was, I felt so bad. I sell stuff on Whatnot for I do fabric shows. So Whatnot is like an online auction. It's like Home Shopping Network meets eBay, right? And so I normally I do 2 a week now. I do on Tuesday evenings, and I do on Thursday evenings. I sell fabric mostly. And I don't do them on the weekends normally. But I was invited to do something called a raid train. And so it was for all arts and crafts supplies. And so what it is everybody has a show for an hour, and it starts at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and one person has a show, and they send all the people at the end of their show, they send all of their customers or all the people that are in their show, they can do what's called a raid, where you basically just push your customers into someone else's show. And so there's a whole schedule. You get invited to be in one of those slots. And so the person who is listed before you, they end their show at the end of the hour, and they push all of their customers into your show. And so I had done one of these already a couple weeks ago, and it went really well. So the same woman was doing another raid, and she said she's over here laying down, so she's okay if she gets up. She's right over here laying down. If she starts bothering me, I'll push her out. You can just leave it, unless the sound's bothering you. Okay, just close it. Okay. She finally gave up. She came over here and said, well, I'm just going to lay down. So she's over here hiding under the table so she doesn't get kicked out. She's sitting in front of the floor fan. So anyway, okay, back to the raid. So I had done a raid a few weeks ago, and it went really well. And I had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 new customers push into my show. And then I ended up sending all 9 of my customers to the next show. And then, so what happens is the later on you are in the show, the more people end up getting pushed into your show. However, but the later your show is, the less likely people have money, because if they're going to go to all the different shows and they spend all their money, so you got to figure out what's a good time. So I had done one, and it was a morning show, and it went pretty well. And I got some new customers to follow me, etc. So the same woman wanted to do one on this Saturday, and she's like, "Hey, I'm doing another raid. Do you want to be a part of it again?" Absolutely. So she gives me a time slot, and my time slot was supposed to be at 5:00 my time, and the one who organized the whole thing, was the one that I was pushing my people into. So she had the slot right after me, and so I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll do it." I set it up, I scheduled it, I had it ready to go. The whole week, I was like, yep, I got the Saturday show. I got that Saturday show. I got that raid show. And then Saturday came, and I sat through all day. And then I got ready for this concert that it didn't exist, that we had already missed the next day. And I didn't even think about it until yesterday at church. I was in church, and I was looking on my phone. We were going to do a major offering, and I didn't have any cash. So I was like, okay, I'll just do one online. So I pick up my little app that I can give, that we do our tithing and we do our church giving on. And I see right underneath there is the Whatnot app, and it's got a little message indicator on there. And I was like, why would somebody send me a message on Whatnot? And then I remembered, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to do my show yesterday. It wasn't like I forgot for a few minutes and I ran in late. Like, I totally forgot. The whole day I forgot, and into the night I forgot. And I did not even remember that I forgot until the next day. And the bad thing is, it wasn't just me that got hurt by this. Like, whoever was supposed to push their customers into my show, there was no show for them to push into. So all those customers went away. And all the customers that the lady was expecting to get from me, there were no customers, because I didn't have a show, because I wasn't there. So she was at the 6 p.m. slot waiting for all the customers who had been built up all day to go into her show. And she got nothing. She had her show, and she had her people that were already her customers, but she didn't have the whole purpose of a raid train is to have people push your customers into their show slot. And so, because I forgot, it's like a chain. Like, I was the weakest link in the chain. There was no link in my part of the chain, and the whole chain broke. And so everybody, after me, got the crappy end of the stick on that. And it was totally my fault. Hold on a second. All right. I clicked the the lock thing on the door, so she might scratch, but it won't open. All right. So, long story short, these have been some things that I have dropped the ball on, like majorly dropped the ball on recently. And the other thing is, I don't want to say this real loud because I don't want Dallas to hear me, but I had wanted to give my kids a special gift. I'll say it, but I won't talk about the details in case she can hear me. But I want to give them the special gift, and it involved me having to send some things online to a place so they could be printed out and made into a gift. It's like a memorial gift, and involves their dad. And so I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to do that. I'm totally going to do that. I'm totally going to do that. And I've been knowing about it for the longest time, but I just kept forgetting to do it. And so finally the other day I remembered, and I was like, oh, I need to go ahead and order that thing. And so I go ahead and order it, and it says, even with express shipping, which I ended up paying $32 for express shipping, it will not arrive until the day after Christmas. So I put it off and put it off and put it off to the point where now they're not going to, I mean, they'll still be able to get the gift and they'll like it, but they won't be able to get it until after Christmas. And that was going to be their big gift. Not big as in money wise, but big as in like meaning a lot to them. And so they'll still get them, but they won't be able to get it under the tree on Christmas Day. So that kind of stinks. So I'm going to read some comments and then I'm going to talk about why I think widow's fog is hitting me harder right now than it was in the past. And then I'm going to talk about some things that you can do to help yourself if it's affecting you. Let's see if anybody else had any feedback. Slept in today and it's still morning here. 9 joining late, waving. Hello, Idea Factory. I had a system in place from the book Sync Reflections that I've been using and taking it one day at a time, one step at a time, and 15 minutes at a time. So Idea Factory, I have read that Sync Reflections, and I was really big into all that. The Fly Lady and the She, SH is Sidetracked Home Executive or something like that. Like it was all that big stuff about wake up and clean your sink and then, do something 15 minutes at a time. And then I totally got into that big time. And I really tried multiple times to put that into my routine. And I do think it's effective, but I was unable to stick with it long enough to become routines. But I did pick up some things from it that I still do today, because this was years ago when I discovered that Fly Lady stuff, the Sync Reflections. I think she's the one that wrote that. One thing was my laundry routine improved, and I've developed that habit, and I have not changed it to where I can't switch the laundry out until I've folded the laundry that like I can't take my laundry out of the dryer unless I have folded it and put it away. And also another routine that I picked up at that point was I always get my clothes ready for getting dressed before I get into the shower. I don't know why I never did this before, but like I would get in the shower and then you walk around wet with a towel on and cold and then try to pick out your outfit and try to get dressed. And so I'm like, why didn't I think of this before? But I pick out my outfit and lay it all out so that when I get out of the shower, I can immediately get dressed. So those are 2 things that I picked up from her, little things. And I do try to keep my sink clean, but it doesn't always work. All right. LaDonna says the widow's fog I thought had left. Then last January, I got sick and was diagnosed with long COVID, which also caused the brain fog. So now I'm confused if widow fog came back. This is a great topic. And I think it's a lot of times it's just a combination of things that cause us to have brain fog, and grief is just one of them. Barbara says, I'm a sticky note, dry erase board, and calendar that hangs on my refrigerator with dates highlighted to remind me something is going on that day. So my husband does that sticky note thing. He has sticky notes everywhere. He'll put a sticky note on his chest right here that has his whatever he needs to get at the store. He'll put sticky notes on his car that says, don't forget your keys, or don't forget your wife's phone, or whatever. He is a total sticky note person, and it works for him. I am totally a sticky note person, but it's ineffective for me because I have sticky notes everywhere. And then they just start to become just a bunch of sticky notes that, then it's like, if you do one thing all the time, then you don't ever do it at all, if that makes sense. And so now it's just a sea of sticky notes everywhere. So I don't notice them anymore. So the sticky note thing doesn't work for me. I have seen this thing that's been advertised a whole lot on Amazon. At least it's on my Amazon and my Facebook a lot. And it's this, I can't remember what it's called now. It's like a sun glow or something, but it's a digital screen that goes on your wall, and it attaches, like it syncs up with your Google Calendar or whatever calendar that you want. And you can, it'll update all the different family events that are going on, and like everybody in the family can see it, and you can press, I think it's got a touch screen. So basically it's like a central hub with a calendar that's digital, that's updated, and that you can see it all the time, and everybody in the family can see it all the time. And I'm really tempted to get that, but it's like $300 or something. And so I'm like, I don't want to waste money on something that is not going to end up working. But I feel like if I can hook it up to my Google Calendar, it will benefit me, because I'm a total Google Calendar girl. But I will tell you why it's not working for me right now. And I think why it's not been working for me recently. Linda says, it's hitting me hard this year, been 4 years and it's scary. Thanks for talking about this. And Sharon says, it's raining here in Michigan, but I have reverted back to using an actual calendar. It helps. And I've thought about that too, because I've always been like a paper calendar girl. It has always seemed to work better for me. Like when I was working as a teacher, I wanted to have something in my hands that I could carry around with me and write stuff all the time. But then it just got to be where I was a special ed teacher and I didn't have my own classroom. And I had my own classroom, but I wasn't in it but one time a day. And so I was traveling and pushing into other teachers' classrooms. And so it was really hard for me to carry all my stuff with me, including my calendar, and have it with me all the time when I could just have my laptop and have my other stuff on there all the time. And so a paper calendar did help me a lot for a long time. And then finally, it just got to where I didn't want to carry a paper calendar around with me all the time everywhere I went. And I was like, well, I have my phone with me all the time wherever I go. So why don't I just figure out a way to incorporate my phone, which I'm still working on that. I'm all about the paper calendar too, says Jody. And the Idea Factory says, this year I'm doing the 12 days of decluttering on day 9 now. Awesome. Awesome. And I didn't know if the Fly Lady was still doing her stuff or if the She Sidetracked ladies are still doing their stuff. But I do still have those old books sitting around here somewhere. I mean, it's been years since I've done that program. And so I will tell you what I think is causing my issues now. And I'm pretty sure, besides just the fact that my medicine's not quite working as well, but I also think that, as I said, I've been on some other medicine that I don't talk about a whole lot, but I am on a medicine called tirzepatide, which is a generic form of what you've seen as Zepbound. And so it's an injectable, and it is for people who have pre-diabetic, diabetic, and insulin resistance that leads to weight loss. I mean, leads to weight gain. And basically it's to help you with your blood sugar so that you can lose weight, basically. And with me being pre-diabetic, I was able to be approved to take that medicine. So I've been taking that medicine, but the dosage has gotten a little higher lately, and it's caused me not to be able to eat very much. So I haven't, and it's not that I'm not eating right. I'm just not eating enough. And it's really hard. Your appetite gets really suppressed and you get really hungry and you start feeling nauseated. And then you take about 2 bites and you're like, okay, now I'm full. I can't hardly eat. And so it's a struggle to eat enough calories. So I think that I'm not getting enough energy. So that's number one. And I'm working on that. I've got a system for that. It's been a long time since I've been told to graze all day long, because that's always been anti to what I've heard about weight loss is don't graze all day. You want to fast, and then you just want to have an eating window, of a short eating window. So I was trying to do that. And my doctor's like, you can't do that while you're taking this medicine. With this medicine, you're kind of like a pregnant person. Like, you can't wait to get too hungry because it'll make you nauseous, and you can't eat too much because it'll make you nauseous. So you basically have to nibble all day long so that you can get enough food in your system and you can sort of keep your energy up all day. And so that's been something that I've been trying to get away from for years. And now I have to start doing again. Just eat a couple bites and then wait an hour or two, and then eat a couple bites of something else and wait an hour or two, and try to go with it. So I'm trying to do that. And another thing, I think the biggest reason why the widow's fog is hitting me the worst right now is because I retired from my regular job, I think in October. I can't even remember. And I am trying to have a good routine, but I am struggling because I make my own schedule. And I say I'm not a morning person. I am a morning person. I'm just not a wake up person. Like, I love getting my day started in the mornings, but I hate getting up out of the bed and just like waking up and getting, just transitioning from sleep to wake. When you have ADHD, any kind of transition is tough. It is, it's hard to transition from one activity to the next. So I'm struggling to get up and get started in the mornings. And also, I know what day of the week it is. Like, I can keep up with what day of the week it is because I do different things different days. So like Mondays is my One Happy Widow Day, right? So I do all my widow business on Mondays. I answer emails. I work on the website. I do this live session. I do the Surviving the Holidays group. I do that on Monday nights. We have a Zoom session together. So anything that has to do with the widow business, I do that on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, I have a fabric show. And on Wednesdays, I usually have my sister come over and she helps me organize the basement. So, like, I have different things going on different days. So I always know what day it is, but I don't anymore know what the date is. So I know today is Monday, but it's December 16th. It's on my watch, but it's not in my brain. And so when there's something that has a date attached to it, I might remember, like, I know that Dallas has a therapy appointment on December 18th, but if I forget what the date on the calendar is, I know that's this week, which now I know that means it's Wednesday, right? So now that I know it's Wednesday, I'll remember, oh, Wednesday she has a doctor's appointment. But if I just think of it as the 18th, I'll be like, oh crap, the 18th was yesterday. Like, I'm not keeping up with the date on the calendar. And the reason for that is because I'm not working a traditional 9 to 5 job outside of the house anymore. So I don't have meetings scheduled on certain days that I have to go to that I have in my little calendar, right? And so I'm just going by what day of the week is it. And so that has caused me to miss a lot of appointments and a lot of things going on. And so I think that's a big thing. Secondly, I don't have that routine where I have to be up and clocked into a job at a certain time. And so I get distracted sometimes. So even though I'm doing my widow stuff today, um, after this live session, like, I should be working on my website. So hopefully that's what I'll do. But, like, try not to get distracted by a YouTube video that's on, or try not to. I got to fill out some paperwork for Dallas because she's applying to be a volunteer at the church for the children's church across the street. So we have to set her up for a background check and all that stuff. Like, I have to do all that paperwork. So paperwork just seems to be confounding me right now. Like, there's all this paperwork that I need to do for all these different things. And I keep putting it off. And then I'll realize that I put it off for so long that I missed some deadline that I was supposed to do before, and now I'm suffering for it. Beans, you've got to go. She somehow broke through the gate. Go, 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 go. I had it locked. She got in anyway. She's too smart. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, my procrastination, which is a result of my medication not working as well. My procrastination is causing me to miss deadlines. And sometimes I'm missing some payments for things. So here's another thing. I have almost all of my bills on auto pay. That's on purpose because I have many credit cards and I cannot remember to pay all these cards on certain days, even if I can do it online. And I don't want my credit score to suffer because I just forgot to pay a bill on time. And so that works pretty well. But lately, since I've quit my job and some other expenses have come up that were unexpected, my credit cards have been a little higher and my other bills have been higher than expected. And I've had to switch some cards around. And so when I forget to switch a card around to be the one that pays for this other bill, then that bill doesn't get paid because the card that it's connected to has reached its limit or something. So it's like I'm juggling the finances, and there's so many of them that I'm not able to carry it up all in my brain at the same time. So that's my biggest problem, is that I try to carry everything up here in my brain and I can't do it. And so in order for me not to forget anything, I have to write it down. And where I was using my Google Calendar, this is what I was going to talk about, why I don't think my Google Calendar is working anymore. I got to close my door again. Okay. So the reason why the Google Calendar is not working anymore is because I prefer to use it on the computer, on my desktop. But now that my work is different, on Mondays, I'm on the computer all day. But on Tuesday through Friday, I'm rarely on the computer. I turn the laptop on downstairs when I'm running a fabric show. I pull it up to check my eBay sales and to do pack packages and to print labels. But other than that, like, I'm just checking my email on my phone. I'm checking YouTube comments on my phone. I'm not really on the desktop or the laptop to work except for on Mondays. And so I haven't been checking my Google Calendar except for on Mondays. And so that means when I check it on Monday, I'm having to remember in my head everything that's on that calendar until the next Monday, and I'm missing and forgetting. And also means that since I'm not on the computer every day, when I have something that is scheduled, I forget to put it on the Google Calendar because I'm not sitting at the computer. When I was sitting at the computer all the time, like when I was an online teacher or I was on here every day doing lesson plans for my job, I was checking my Google Calendar all the time. And when something came up and I needed to schedule it, I'd just be like, oh, let me pull my Google Calendar up. I'll just put it in there real quick and just, put it on the calendar. And so it was working really well for me because I was on the computer all the time. So I was on there to schedule things, and I was always also on there to check things. So, and then it's just recently I realized, hey, I mean, I probably already knew this, but like I can check my Google Calendar on my phone. Duh. So, I need to get into the habit of checking my Google Calendar on my phone and doing the like entering the events on the Google Calendar on my phone so that I can check it every day and make sure that I don't miss anything. So, what I'm trying to say is my routines have been disrupted because my old routines were working for the lifestyle that I had for a job outside the home and checking my computer all the time. And the routines that I had in place, the routines I had were working for me, for my lifestyle, for the situation I was in. But since my life situation has changed and my daily routine is different, now I have to come up with new methods of routines in place and procedures in place and things to kind of to go on autopilot so that I'm not constantly having to think about stuff all the time. The way to make your life simpler, and I talk about this in my grief pivot course, by the way, is to put as much of your life on autopilot as possible so that you don't have to think every second of the day, and it limits the amount of decisions that you have to make on a day-to-day basis because decision making is exhausting and it's hard to do when you're grieving. And so if you can put your life on autopilot and not have to make as many small decisions throughout the day, it makes your life simpler. It puts less of a strain on your brain so that you can focus on other things that are more important. This is advice I'm giving you. This is advice that I need to take for myself because it's something I have not done. And I feel like I was juggling all these balls pretty well. And then when I switched to a different room, suddenly I can't juggle the same balls because maybe the ceiling's not the same, or maybe the balls are different or whatever. But like, I'm not juggling all my balls very well, and I'm dropping a lot of them. And now they all feel like they're dropping. And so I have got to develop new routines for myself to start implementing. And that's really hard to do. I know it is. It's hard for me. I function very well on routines, but I don't start the routines very easily. It's hard for me to start the routines, as everyone, right? I mean, that's why we have New Year's resolutions at the beginning of every year. And then 3 days later or 7 days later or whatever, we're not doing it anymore, right? Like my life is constantly a set of new resolutions that I'm trying to put into my life. But once I finally get them, that routine and have everything going, then it puts safety in my life. It gives me calm and peace and reduces my anxiety. And it makes me feel like, okay, at least I know that this is on autopilot. So I don't have to think so much about these other things. And so I really am going to work on doing that. But what scares me is that in January, I'm coming off my medicine for a month. And so I might have to wait till February to try to put all these routines in place because January, I'll probably forget to pay every bill and I'll probably miss every appointment that I have. And I probably will forget to come here for live. It wouldn't surprise me. And so we'll see how it goes. All right. I'm going to go back and see if I can catch up on the chats. And then I'm going to talk about some things that you can do besides the things that I've already talked about that might help you with your widow's fog. Let's see. Sticky notes, raining. Okay. Jody says I'm all about the paper calendar too. Oh, I've already done that. I put phone RX reminders. So does that mean prescription reminders, or is that a specific thing? Calendar and notes on paper are my lifeline to what I need to remember or do each day or the next few days. Yeah, I'm like I said, I was totally a pen and paper person, and a lot of times I still am. I love digital stuff and technology, but sometimes the act of writing it down helps to remember just the fact that I wrote it down. It's actually a memory keeper. Like when you have to process something and then you have to put it and you have to process it through your hand and write it down on paper and then look at it visually, the connection between your brain and your kinetic, your hand and the sight, because you're involving several senses together. Writing down things is helps you to remember, even if you don't look at it again. It's a scientifically proven fact. And so a lot of young people don't know that because they don't really use paper and pencil as much anymore. But us older folks, when we had to write notes in school by hand, it helped us to remember. And it's a lost art. A lot of things that we don't do anymore. But again, my problem is that like I move from room to room and go from different places, and I'm in my house, and so I don't find myself like carrying around my calendar with me all the time. And so I've tried to move more to digital, because that way, if I forget my calendar, my written calendar, my notebook, I know I always have my phone with me. And so I'm trying to utilize the digital, because I know that digital can work everywhere that I am, no matter where I go. Oh, okay. So taking medicine reminders. I got it. Janet says calendar and notes on paper are my lifeline. Linda says I'm using sticky notes. They do pile up. Yeah. Janet says writing it down. And Idea Factory says daily PM reminder for my insulin before 8 a.m. and before 9 p.m. So, yes, daily reminders is something I was going to talk about. And I wanted to ask if anybody has any specific knowledge about this, because I need to look it up. But I know that on your iPhone, you can put I set my alarm for 8 o'clock every morning, and it just automatically is on for every weekday, right? So I don't have to like reset it every night. It's already on for every weekday. But I'm wondering if I can put, like, let's say, for instance, let's say my daughter has her orthodontic appointment in January, like on January 6th or something. I don't know what the day is. I have to look it up. Can I go in right now and put in an alarm to set for specifically January 6th at whatever, like a few minutes before that time, like an hour before, hour and a half before, because it takes 40 minutes to get there. Like, can I right now today set an alarm to go off on a certain specific date on the calendar in the future, and it will go off as a reminder? I'm sure that you can, but I've never tried it, so I don't know. Because if I can do that, then I will start doing that. Because that way, if I forget to check my calendar, then my phone will beep, and I look down. Oh crap! I have a so and so meeting in 10 minutes. I better hurry up and get ready for it. And so if I can implement that, I'm going to. And if my phone doesn't have that within like the app, the clock app, I'm sure there's an app I can download that will do the same thing, right? So I'm gonna have to look that up. Jody says, when I had to start going to town by myself, I would arrive and not know how I got there. That's okay. That's definitely some widow fog going on for sure. And sometimes I think when we're driving, especially if you and Jody, were you driving a path that you've done so many times that you didn't have to think about it? Because a lot of times people who are on, that's putting yourself on autopilot, right? Like if you have your travel from home to work and you've done it for years and years and years, and it's the same travel, a lot of times we'll find that we don't remember the drive getting there, because we were such on autopilot that our mind just was thinking about other things, while our body just kind of got us and took us on that path, and we didn't really pay attention to what we were doing. And so it could be something like that, and that's not necessarily widow's fog. That's our brain being on autopilot. Linda says, I'm going to clean up my Facebook notices people I follow. I get too many notifications. It takes up my time when reading them. That's a great idea. And also, like, when I go through my emails, because emails takes me forever, I try to constantly unsubscribe from things that I stupidly signed up for spam emails and stuff like that. And I try to do that every time I check my email. Same thing with text. I'm starting to get a lot of things through text that are like advertisements. And if you get an advertisement through text, all you have to do is type stop and then send it, and it will automatically make them unsubscribe you from that text messages. Yours has 10 minutes before, okay? And it also has the option to edit wake up and like for holidays. Okay. So I'm hoping that I'll figure it out and then I'll get back to you and let you know if I figured out what works or not. But I want to go through some steps, just some general steps that might be able to help you just with dealing with widow's fog, knowing what it is, and, just kind of handling it in your life. So first of all, um, hold on. I got my notes over here, and so I've got to read so that I don't forget. First of all, know that it is a real thing and that it's normal to experience it and to give yourself some grace. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. You're not going to be able to remember everything. You're not going to be the same as you were before. And you're dealing with a heck of a lot of stuff. And so it is totally normal to drop the ball, to feel overwhelmed, to have anxiety, to not remember stuff. Because your routine has been totally upended. And so it's okay that this is happening sometimes. It's not like it's a normal thing. Okay. And for the most part, it should resolve itself as you get more used to your life. I hate to say new normal, but it is. As you learn how to deal with your grief, as you learn how to live as a widowed person, and you develop new routines in your life, it does usually improve. All right. So just give yourself grace and just don't beat yourself up a whole lot about it. Set realistic expectations for yourself. So don't overschedule things and don't expect you to be able to do the same amount of stuff that you were able to do before. Okay. Just try to simplify your life as much as possible, and then only do the things that you absolutely have to do, and then add things to it more as you feel like you can handle it. So that will keep you from feeling so overwhelmed. This is a recurring theme that I'm going to tell you for everything, but when the stuff hits the fan, you got to take care of your body. Okay, so that means you got to drink enough water, you got to eat healthy foods, you got to get a good sleep schedule, and you got to move your body. Okay, and so that's going to not really solve, but that is going to improve almost everything in your life that you struggle with. I promise you. It is not the cure for everything, but it causes your body to perform at its optimal level for wherever you are in life right now. Okay. So when you are drinking a lot of water, you feel better. Your joints are hydrated so that you don't hurt as much. You're less likely to get a headache. It lowers your blood pressure. It gives you energy. It makes your metabolism function more efficiently. And believe it or not, it helps to clear the brain fog. It helps to clear your mind. Eating a balanced meal does the same thing. When your sugar is not at the right place, if you eat too many sweets or sugary stuff and you don't have enough protein in your system, then your blood sugar is going to be up and down and all over the place. And when your blood sugar is not right, it affects your ability to think straight, and it makes you have fuzzy thoughts and inability to focus and forgetfulness. When you are not moving, then your body is just not functioning as well as it should. And also, when you move your body and you increase your blood flow to all the parts of your body, that means you're getting blood flow to your brain too. And when you get blood flow to your brain works better. Also, don't cut out all of the fat. Okay. And I know that when we were growing up, it was like low fat, no fat, low fat, no fat. But believe it or not, if you don't have enough fat in your system, then your brain actually takes energy from fat. Like your body would prefer to use sugar and carbohydrates for energy. Your brain, however, needs fat to function. That's what it uses for energy. And so just make sure that you're not like cutting out. It doesn't mean, eat every fat thing under the sea, right? But it does mean that don't try to think that you're being healthier by eating low fat, no fat, low fat, no fat, everything. Okay. So just try to eat some healthy fats, whether it be olive oil or avocado or however you want to get your healthy fats, your peanut butter or whatever. But don't go no fat, low fat 100%, because it will starve your brain of energy. And then, of course, sleeping. If you're tired, you can't think straight. You're also irritable. You're also more likely to have anxiety. You're also more likely to be depressed. And so when you get enough sleep, it affects your mental health. It affects your body. It makes you feel better, gives you more energy, etc. It's all common sense, but I got to say it. Creating routines. So I talked about that also, but it's so important for you to create routines. And there's so many reasons for that. Again, if you want to check out my grief pivot course, is called griefpivotcourse.com, and you can check that out. There's 28 lessons in there, but a lot of those lessons is focused on how to develop routines in your life, how to set pattern disruptors when you're in a bad pattern, how to disrupt the bad pattern and to replace it with a good pattern. Like I said, how to set up routines so that your body and your mind can be on autopilot for as much as possible, so that you don't have to burden your brain and your emotions with too much decision making, because that's what gets people overwhelmed. And so just create a routine, and it doesn't matter what it is as long as it works for you. So you want to have a routine for your sleep and wake cycle. It's called sleep hygiene, believe it or not. But having good sleep hygiene is a really good way to improve your mental state. But you want to have a good sleep routine. You want to have a good wake up routine. You want to have a good eating routine. You want to have a good routine for keeping up your house so that your house can stay nice and tidy. I think that's why having pets is a lot of times helps us, because having a pet forces you to be on some sort of routine, right? Like you have to feed them certain times a day. If not, they'll let you know, hey, it's time to eat. You have to take them outside and let them go to the bathroom or get their exercise or whatever on a routine. Otherwise, they're going to have accidents in the house. And so having a pet just kind of forces us to be on a routine in order to take care of another creature. And being forced to be on that routine, we don't even realize, helps us to regulate, um, some of our life being on autopilot. Because then once you get up, you're like, well, I got to get up and feed the dog. Well, now that you're up, you're already up. You might as well brush your teeth, and you might as well get dressed, and you might as well fix your hair. And then okay, now that you're up and you fixed and you got dressed, well, you might as well fix your coffee and go have some breakfast. And then your dog has to go outside. Well, went outside. Well, let's go for a little bit of a longer walk today. And let me take the dog all the way around the park or whatever. And so you see how being on that routine with your animal can sort of spill over and help you to develop new routines that are healthier for your own life. Simplifying your daily tasks. So just try to put things on a schedule. We talked all about that with Google Calendar and all that. So I'm going to be working on that, implementing some changes soon to help myself be on autopilot for that. See, I haven't even gotten my nails done, and when I don't have my nails done, I bite my and everything like breaks off, and I get hangnails. And look how long it's been since I've had my nails done. Can you see? Oh, my face is breaking out. Like it's affecting me, guys. All right. Use reminders. Okay, we talked all about that. I'm going from a list that I've got over here. Break tasks into steps. So instead of thinking about like the whole task, just break it down into pieces, because you can only do one step at a time anyway. So break it down into steps and only do one step at a time. And then just be like, if all you can do is that one step and you can't get to the next one, that's okay, as long as you got one step in. Engage your mind. So it's a use it or lose it as we get older. If you are not doing things that challenge your brain and that cause you to think deeper thoughts and complex thoughts and processes, then your brain tends to, it's like, oh, she's not using me, so I guess we'll just shut this part down and shut this part down and save this energy or whatever. And so it's very important as we age to keep our mind and our body nimble. And your brain is like a muscle. And so, and a lot of times when people retire from their job, their brain starts to go to mush, because they just they're not problem solving anymore like they did on their job. And so if you're not faced with normal problem solving in the day, then you need to give yourself problem solving. That's why we work out, because our lives in general are so sedentary that we have to do fake exercise. Like, we real exercise, but like we have to run on a treadmill or like run around the block, because we're not being chased by some saber-toothed tiger and forced to run away from, neighboring tribes that are trying to capture us and put us into slavery or whatever. Like, our ancestors way back had to do those things to survive. We don't have to do those things to survive. So we have to create mock situations to keep our body in shape, which means running and lifting weights and doing those things that normally we would have had to do just in order to survive. Same thing with your brain. So if you're not doing problem solving on a job, or or by raising your children, or by doing a routine, or having a routine all the time, then pick up something, a hobby, like doing a craft, even if it's knitting or crochet or drawing, or do something like crossword or Sudoku. something where you have to think and problem solve or do logic puzzles where you have to figure out the whodunit and you have to do the little charts, or do the color by number, or do something that involves, keeping your brain occupied, because exercising your brain will help clear out the fog, and it will help you be able to think more clearly because you're using it all the time. And so that was brain exercises, learning something new. So learn something new. If you don't have a hobby, then pick one up. Or if you already have lots of hobbies and you're like, yeah, I've been doing that for years. Well, do a new hobby. And it doesn't have to be, it can be anything that you want. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You're never too old to learn how to knit. You're never too old to learn how to draw. You're never too old to learn how to do some pottery. It doesn't have to be heavy lifting or exercising or sports. You're never too old to learn some digital stuff. I think older people seem to think that digital stuff is just way too intimidating and I can't do it, and it's just for the young people or whatever. But digital stuff, technology, is some of the best things for older people to do because it requires no physical labor. It just requires you to be able to see and click some buttons on your keyboard. So and it breaks things down into smaller steps. And so if you will work on doing something, do a YouTube channel. And even if you don't publish it, do it, get on the computer, turn on your laptop thing or your phone, get on your phone and turn on the camera and tell stories about your memories from your childhood. And then figure out how to upload it onto a YouTube channel, even if you keep the channel private, and upload all of your life stories to your YouTube channel, and then share that link with your family so that they will have a video repository of all of the memories of your life while you're still alive and able to share that with your family. Do that. That's a good hobby. And it sets up your legacy to be carried on by your family after you're gone. That was something I thought about the other day that I'm planning on doing maybe over the summer. And I'm going to upload like all the old videos that I have of their dad and everything and just make it into like this one place so that if phones ever break or if we lose our account or whatever, it'll always be there. You gotta go. Go. Okay. Practice mindfulness. So if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, we talked about this last week, but you can do something called grounding, where you look around and you name five things that you see, you list 4 things that you can hear, you list 3 things that you can smell, go through all your senses, and you list numbers of things, and it's centering your mind to forget about all the things that are causing the anxiety, and kind of helps you be present in the moment. You could try meditation, you could try prayer, you could try deep breathing, you could do yoga, stretching, anything that kind of quiets yourself and helps you focus on just one thing at a time so that you can not feel so overwhelmed by everything that is going on. Stay connected. Okay, so that just means don't hide away in your house and not talk to anybody, because then that's when you start forgetting what day it is, not paying attention to the calendar, and not realizing that life is passing you by and you don't even know what day it is or what you're supposed to be doing from time to time. And that leads to depression, and that leads to more loneliness, and that leads to you not taking care of yourself physically, and it's just a snowball effect. So staying connected also holds you accountable and makes you like put yourself on a calendar and say, it makes you commit to certain activities. Like if you go play bingo with whatever, or you go out to karaoke, or you go visit with your family once a week or once a month and have dinner with them or whatever, it's something for you to put on your calendar and look forward to. And it sort of helps to structure your time around those events that are coming up. It also allows you to interact with other people so that you can, keep your social well-being up. Some people like being around other people more than others, whether you're an introvert or extrovert, but we're still social beings regardless. And we still do need to be around people at least sometimes. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Go out and find other resources if you need to, whether it be seeking therapy or going to a grief share group or coming to this live with Leo or watching videos or whatever, but seek out some resources if you feel like you're stressing. Manage your stress. So that means limit your overwhelm. So cut out the things that are unnecessary and don't put too much on your plate. Just put the bare minimum of what you have to do and then add things as you go. You can journal. We talk about that all the time. onehappywidow.com/journal, and you can download some free journal pages for you that you can fill out, or just get yourself a notebook and write down your thoughts. Practicing relaxation techniques, we already talked about. Seeking professional support, we already talked about that. If it's really, really bad, then you might need to go think about seeing a psychiatrist or a doctor. And asking your doctor if medication might be a possibility for you. Medication's appropriate for some people and not others. I'm not pushing it. I'm not discouraging it. I'm just saying, if that's for you, great. And if not, then that's fine too. But just know that it's out there, and explore the possibility. If you feel like it might be help to you, and ask your doctor. Your doctor would be the person who could tell you about it. Excuse me. There's also some cognitive training exercises that you could do if you go to a therapist, and they can actually tell you how to do things, whether it be worksheets or like mental exercises. But there are ways that you can train your brain to rewire how everything is connected up there, and to help you with memory loss and things like that. So that therapists are trained in specific techniques on that. So you might want to ask somebody about that. Be patient with yourself. So just know that, these are things that just kind of come along with the package of being a widow. And it's just another thing that we just have to deal with. And it's sad, but it is there. Once a lot of times we recognize that it's normal, then it helps us to be able to think, okay, well, if everybody else in the world who has been widowed can handle this, then I know I can handle it too. And just know that it takes time. It's not going to go away overnight. And it might not ever go away completely. You might always deal with some kind of mental fog due to your stress and your grief, but it can get better. You just have to work at it. And just know that it might take a while. It's not going to happen overnight. And just celebrate your small wins. So, just if you go a whole week without missing a single appointment, that's about where I'm at. I'm going to celebrate. I don't know what I'm going to do to celebrate, but I'm just going to pat myself on the back and be like, hey, he went through 7 whole days without missing an appointment. That's awesome. Because at this point, I'm not sure if I can handle that. Like, that's my first goal. And so anyway, just know that there's support out there. Just know that this is something that a lot of people do deal with. So it's not just you, and there's nothing wrong with you. And it's totally normal. It's not something we want to have to deal with, but it's, at least now you know that it does exist and why it exists and how you can work to combat it. All right. And so let me see if there's anything else that's on the chat, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Right on the calendar, you can set the day or the day before. So, okay. So I felt like there's probably a way to do it on the calendar on my phone. So I'm going to check it out. I'm going to mess around on that this week and see if I can figure it out. Maybe I'll even do a video about it. Like an instructional video, not a live one, but like a recorded video, and see if I can show on the screen how it all works. Google set up notifications in Google Calendar, step-by-step instructions. Okay. Then that's what I'll do. Set up notifications. And then Janet says, good luck. Idea Factory says, like having to take a walk, take a walking stick because of neighborhood dogs. Good class. Yes. Unfortunately, depending on where you live, we have wild boar, and we have coyotes that live around us. And so we can't really walk a lot after dark, because boar will attack you if you're in the woods, and coyotes could attack small animals. So if you're walking a small dog or something, they will come and try to like gang up on you. So we have to be real careful when we go outside at night, because we have coyotes in our back, coyotes and boars in our back 5 acres here, because it's all woods. Put a smiley face on your calendar as a reward for meeting all your appointments this week. Oh, what a good idea. I think I will do that. Yes. Thank you for that. I knew I had to have some kind of a accomplishment to make. All right. And then Linda says, thanks, Leo. This chat really helped me today. So good. So hopefully that will give you something to think about. It's a little overwhelming. It's a lot to think about, but just know that it's normal. Just know that it can get better. And that there are ways that you can help yourself to do that. And if you need to watch this video over again, since there's so much information, then I would encourage you to do that. Or if you feel like you need some printable things and some specific steps, to guide you step by step through how to put those routines in place and to break that cycle of grief when you're kind of stuck in that grief cycle, then I would encourage you to go to the Grief Pivot course, and I'll put it in the chat. I can't talk and type at the same time. Okay. Griefpivotcourse.com. You should be able to click on that. It should also be in the description below, and it will take you to a little video that you can watch that's got information about it and how to sign up. And I've had some really good feedback on the people who have taken it. As a matter of fact, last week someone told me, she said, I took your grief course. She said, as a matter of fact, I took it twice because she did it once last year, and then she knew she needed to kind of have a refresher. And so she went through it again. And it's 28 lessons. It could take you weeks to months to go through it. It's self-paced. And once you get your membership, once you purchase it, it's yours for life. So you have full access to it forever. And so if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But I think the people who have taken it have found it helpful. So, all right, that's it for this week. I have talked quite a long time. I'm going to have to start setting up my routines too. So all these exercises and things that I've given you, I have to do them myself. And so I'm going to be implementing them myself. And January is a good time because it's always a time for us to, new year, new you type thing. And so, I'm going to try to just dig into that and see what I can do with it. All right. So that's going to do it for this week. And we will catch you next Monday at 12, every Monday at 12 Eastern, Lunch with Leo. See ya.